Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Kiki Williams. If you are not, then I know I have been gone for a while. Basically, I went to Ibiza. I had such a good time. I lived my life, and I don't know, I came back and just felt really demotivated. Like, I seriously suffered a bad case of holiday blues, and I don't think I've ever had that before. Like, it was literally, it lasted for about 3 weeks, I would say. Yeah, I just felt like I didn't want to train, I didn't want to eat healthy, I just didn't want to get back to this kind of like the me before, like Ibiza. And as much as I love the holidays, probably one of the best holidays I've been on. Maybe that's why it kind of took me a while to kind of get back into the groove and like realize, like, girl, we've got work to do. And yeah, and just coming back, I don't know if you've done things that I shouldn't have done, but you know, such is life. But yes, I am back with a new video, and it's all about establishing clear boundaries with difficult family members. Now, I have had a lot of experience on this, and you know, dealing with family can be quite difficult and very sensitive just because they are family. So I have 6 tips to help you kind of set those boundaries, and hopefully they work for you. Let me know, and also let me know if anyone's like suffered from holiday blues, and like how you felt and how you got over it. Like, I feel like I'm over it now. I've got back into work, I've got back into eating healthy and gym and just, you know, back to my old self kind of thing. But yeah, let me know. But let me get into the video because I know everyone hates these long intros. So yes, let's get into it. So tip number 1 would be your needs and your happiness come before anyone else's, bottom line. And that's regardless whether they're family or not. Like, you need to realize that you have to look after yourself first, essentially, for you to give, you know, love, you give care, and give out to other people. It might sound selfish because it might be your mom or, you know, a sister, but it's really not. Like, if you're not right within yourself, how can you be right with other people? So you need to understand that your needs and your happiness and your well-being is worth any relationship that you have with family, especially if it's a toxic one. Don't feel like you have to stay in it, and don't feel like you know, you can't set boundaries with them because, you know, they're family. You know, I must stick with family. Like, no. If your mental health is suffering from it, then you need to set boundaries, or eventually, if that doesn't work, then you need to eventually, you know, cut them off. And I know a lot of people don't like using that, cut them out, but I don't essentially mean, you know, you just cut them off straight away. Yes, create boundaries, have that in place, but if that doesn't work, then, you know, you may eventually just have to stop talking to them, and that might be a trigger for them, and they may realize, yeah, like, family is what you make it. It's not always the family that you have, you know, that are given to you. If it's toxic, then, you know, and it's disturbing your well-being, it's disturbing your mental health, and, you know, you're feeling rubbish about it, then you've got to realize that you're the most important person. At the end of the day, as much as they are your family, it's your mum, it's your sister, it's your aunt, it's your grandmother, it's your uncle, they're still people, and they're still people with issues, just like you, just like me, just like Sarah from down the road, whoever it is. Everyone has their own, you know, things going on in their life, that, and some people unfortunately put that insecurity and put that anger on other people, and it makes a relationship toxic. But that doesn't mean you have to stay in it because they are your family. Please recognize that. Like, with issues that I've had with my family, I've got to the point where my mental health has really suffered, to the point where it was like, it was bad, it was really bad. And I realized that I am the most important person, and I cannot have a relationship and with someone who is not, it's not helping me. That doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't, You know, I'm saying, not saying you wouldn't do it with a friend. You may do it with a friend, you may do it with a boyfriend, but with family, it's like you almost think you have to stay in it because they are your family, when essentially you don't. Because you're more likely to cut off a friend if a friend was doing that. You're more likely to cut off a boyfriend if a boyfriend was doing that. So yeah, you are important and your needs are important above any relationship, regardless of what, you know, it is. So tip number 2 would be to hold firm. Now, what I mean by this is they won't like change. Unfortunately, what I learned, because I had like counselling for like a lot of like my family issues and stuff, what I found when I was counselling is that everybody, unfortunately, plays a part in a family. Whether you do it subconsciously and you do it on purpose, or you don't realise you're doing it, everyone plays a part in a family. Now, it could be a good part, it could be a bad part, it can be a part where people take the piss out of you, it could be the part where people take advantage of you, it could be anything. It could be you're the, you know, main breadwinner of the house. It could be anything. I don't want to like put any like titles or labels on it, but everyone does. And when you start to feel like, you know, actually I don't want to be this way anymore, and you start to establish boundaries, you will find a lot of the time they won't like it because they're used to you being a certain way. And it's different from, say, a relationship with your friend or your boyfriend, say, because your family have always been there from when you were young. You've kind of built this part that you play in the family. So for you to then automatically, you know, change the way you are, they're going to be like, what? Why? What's got into you? Because they're so used to you being that way. And then there is a lot of emotions that are involved with it as well. They might take it personally. They might just make you feel guilty about it, not like subconsciously, but they may make you feel a type of way. But this is why I say you must hold firm when you're creating your boundaries, because most likely they will not like it at the beginning. They won't like that you're changing. Create healthy boundaries within your family, then you have to hold firm and you have to keep going, even though you may feel guilty about it and you feel like, oh, but it's my mum, I can't do that to my mum, or it's my dad, I really don't want to do that. You have to do it. It won't feel nice. And once you start to break, you know, out of that mold and you start communicating your boundaries, you know, just don't give up. Don't give up by how they react, because that's how they want to react and you're changing. And at the end of the day, when you change as a person, either people are going to come along with you, or they're going to come along with you and accept, or they're just going to fall by the wayside. Like, what can you do? It may make it worse before it gets better, but you still have to hold firm, because, you know, it's not good. It's not good for you. You've obviously got to a point where you've had enough, and this is why you're doing this. So just don't let fear and guilt, like, you know, take over and you give up, because that's not what you want, essentially. And please do not give in to how they react, because, you know, they're gonna react that way because they don't like change and they don't like the fact that you're changing, and you're part of this. You're part of this mold that they've created as a family, and you fit that and you're breaking out of it. It's like, what the hell? So yeah, hold firm in when you're creating your boundaries. So the third tip is you have to have clear communications set in order for it to work. If you are unsure, if you come across that, you know, you're going to waver a bit, they're easily going to just walk over the boundary and then you'll be back to normal. So you have to make sure you're clear in setting your boundaries. So you may just give an example of that. Say if your mum always comes round to your house uninvited, doesn't call you and just comes round whenever she pleases, and, you know, it's starting to bother you. You want your house packed. You don't want to always have guests over, regardless of whether it's your mum or not. You just want to have your alone time, or you just want to be with your family, whatever it is. So you've established that it's annoying you. You've established that you're getting frustrated by it. You need to be clear in how you deliver this new boundary to her. So you want to be sensitive, but you also want to stand firm and be firm in how you deliver your message to her. So I would probably say something like, Mum, I love that you come round, but you have to call first. You know, I can't promise that the next time you come round that I will be available. And then you have to start putting a boundary out. Like, it's very simple, but it's still acknowledging the fact that, you know, you do like when she comes around. Obviously not all the time, but you're still establishing the fact that, you know, I do like when you come around, but you have to come, you have to call. And then at the end of your message, or your, you know, setting a boundary, then you have to give like an ultimatum. If you do it again, then I'll be doing such and such from now on. So something simple like that is being clear, and hopefully gets reciprocated properly. So number 4 would be to identify what issues you have with them first. So you don't have to talk to them to do this. You'll just know by, you know, being around them in general, and what the triggers are and what sort of emotions come out. And from there, you're then able to choose an appropriate boundary. And when I say appropriate, I mean something that, you know, still, if you still want them in your life, something that still allows them to be in your life, but still keeps your, you know, mental health and your, you know, your peace of mind at ease. Obviously, you know, being in a family unit can be hard. There's different personalities, and, you know, but it doesn't mean that you want to like cut them off. Not all the time. You may just find that you need to set up a boundary for them to be in your life the way that you would like them to be. So if I just give an example of what I've had to deal with, I have a family member who I find that can be a bit much once I start spending too much time with them, and it can come in it just becomes a bit overwhelming, and yeah, just a bit too much if I start spending too much time with them. So I've learned to basically, I can only really handle them for like a day, and then I'm kind of clocked out for like a couple of days or a week or so, or, you know, I clock in and out, but not in a way that they would ever find it to be disrespectful or be rude, but, you know, I just find that person to be a bit much sometimes. So I've just kind of learnt to not to be so involved, should I say, with them all the time, but instead love them from a distance, but still clock in when I need to, and clock out when I want to. So I've never had a situation with that person for a good few years now where I've felt really upset by them, or I haven't felt that with that person for a very long while. And I feel that I actually have a better relationship with them now, more so than like ever before. So number 5 would be to give yourself the permission to set boundaries. Now for me, I felt when I was going through my kind of transition of coming out of that kind of that role I play in the family, it was really hard for me to kind of set boundaries. And besides, I was quite young, so I didn't really feel like I had much of a voice, should I say. And I probably didn't. I was very not confident and very insecure, and just had a lot of issues with my family. And I found it so hard to set boundaries because I felt scared, I felt worried, and I don't know, I just really struggled with giving myself the permission to actually outgrow it. I felt like I had to be in it. I had to be in it, but because I was so in it, I couldn't see a way out, and I was scared to even like break that mold. And you do feel a lot of guilt, and you do fear, because you feel like the relationship is gonna change and the relationship may just dissolve. And like, I can't lie, some relationships with my family have like just poof, like have just completely stopped. and it's a sad thing, but you know, like I said in the first tip, your needs and your happiness come before anyone else, regardless of whether they're family or not. And if that's what is meant to happen, that's what's meant to happen, and you can't stop these things. But yeah, don't be afraid to set boundaries within families. If it changes the relationship, if you know the relationship, you know, goes its separate ways, then you know what, so be it. Like, that's what happens. You know, you can't always have a relationship with everyone. Don't feel like you have to put up with something just because, you know, it's your mum, your dad, your auntie, whoever it is. Allow yourself to grow, and growing means that you have to be uncomfortable. And if that means, you know, you end up with with no one, then so be it. And you never know, with time these relationships may come back in a much better and healthier way. And I feel like for me, that is probably something that happened with me. I'm not saying all my family relationships came back, but I felt when it got to the height of everything, yeah, I literally felt I had no one except my sister. But eventually, you know, I've been able to build the relationship back up to a point where it's like civil, and even to a point where the relationship is much better. And that's what you need sometimes, you know. So don't ever feel scared to set these boundaries, and don't ever feel like you can't, because you know the relationship is gonna just end. And honestly, life is a journey, and you know, if it has to be that way, and if you have to part ways, then you will be alright. Just know you will be alright. So the final tip is to make sure that you seek support. It's very important that you have people outside of your family that you can speak to about this, because it could really change the dynamic of, you know, your family unit. So you need to have people outside of that. So it could be your friends, it could either be like a doctor, you know, if you feel like you know you have a lot of like issues concerning your family, then you may need to like consult a counsellor. And in my experience, I felt before I actually was able to speak to a counsellor, I always had my friend to vent to, and she knows who she is. But yeah, if you don't have that, then please get the help that you need. Like, counselling helped me so much in terms of coming to terms with a lot of my issues that I faced growing up with my family, and yeah, just accepting a lot of things and opening my eyes to a lot of things in my family. And it's probably one of the best things you can do, especially when you've had a lot of issues growing up. Yeah, so definitely seek support, 100%. Well guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video and got some value from it. I kind of got a bit personal with a lot of things that I spoke about. But yeah, sometimes I think it's important that you give your own personal perspective on it. So, you know, people know that I'm not just talking at the top of my head about these things. I have been through it and I've come out the other side with better relationships and stronger relationships. And yeah, it's so important, like I've said, to set boundaries. You know, don't think too much about the fact of that they're your family. You have to think about yourself in situations. You just have to, because if you are not right, you can't be right for anyone else, and that is the bottom line, period. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got value from it. Let me know, you know, in the comments below if anyone has any, you know, issues that are going on, and if these tips are helping you. And yeah guys, please make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel if you know, been enjoying all the advice videos that I've been putting out. But yeah, I will see you next week hopefully, and yeah, take care. Bye guys.